Day one of free agency is basically over, guys. The night is coming, and there's barely any signings coming right now. And I'm going to be telling you the winners and losers of day one of the NHL free agency. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, guys. It really does help it a lot. I post every single day. Yeah, you're not subscribed. I know you're not. Subscribe right now, baby. We're on the grind. Like 99% of you're not. Let's get straight into the video. Is your team a winner or a loser? Comment down below if you liked what your team did. Should your team not sign anyone? Did your team sign a superstar? Let me know down below. Let's have a conversation. All right, guys, there's really not any losers, but I'll explain that in a second. Let's go over the winners real quick. First winner is they're flip-flop. There's two that I think are the biggest winners. Here is the first one. I'm going to say the Carolina Hurricanes are one of the big winners of today. And let me tell you why. We all know why. We all know why they signed the best free agent of this year's class, Dmitry Orlov and Michael Bunting. I know Michael Bunting, a lot of people are say, oh, refs don't like him. He's whatever. He's a really good player, man. He is a good player. You got to give props where props are given. Yes, he has some issues with the refs and blah, 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 blah. He's a good player. Good player indeed. But obviously, Orlov is the main piece for the Hurricanes. And they signed both their goaltenders back, Ronta and Frederick Anderson, for pretty team-friendly deals, if I'm being honest with you. They're both getting up there in age, so it was low deals, so it was actually really good for the Canes. So you got to give them props for that. And they added Jesper Fast as well, which is back. He came back, whatever. Cool. Orlov and Bunting. I don't know if he's going to slot in the top 6. If not, top 9, bro. The third line would be insane. Even if he does in the top 6, it would be absolutely lethal. This guy is a stud. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be scoring. He's not going to have like 80 points. It's whatever. I bet you he hits 50. He hits 50 for sure. Then, obviously, Orlov. I like the not a long-term deal either. I like that. 31 years old, 2-year contract. In his prime or towards the end of his prime. So obviously if the contract didn't work out, if the player doesn't work out, cool, he only has 2 years, you know what I mean? Instead of signing for 7 years and him turning out being bad. I don't think he'll be bad though. Offensive upside for that guy is really, really good. Canes definitely took a massive W. Here is the other team that took a massive W, but I don't really know why they did it. That is the Nashville Predators. Why did they do it? I don't know. They bought out Duchesne, so we were like, okay, and they sold that last year's trade deadline. I'm like, okay, cool. Rebuild mode in Nashville. Completely opposite. Trotz just did a full 180 and signed some really good players. Ryan O'Reilly, Gustav Nyquist, Carrier, and Luke Schenn. Obviously some other AHL deals and maybe little minor deals, but those are the main pieces. And I like that, man. Ryan O'Reilly is a very, very good player. Very two-way center, which is huge. He can play up and down the lineup, and he can play defense with the best of them. Nyquist, obviously these guys are a little bit older, I get it, but it's not long-term deals. Riley 4 years, it's whatever, but Nyquist 2 years, it does not hurt, man. He'll put up 50 points next year, probably playing in the top 6. Then obviously Luke Schenn is a very good defenseman as well. He's not a top tier defenseman, but he can lock it down in the back end. He's you could trust. He's a trustworthy defenseman that you will definitely want on your team. Nashville, that I thought they were going to rebuild. This is kind of like a retool because their bottom 6 is not really good. Their depth is not there on up front. Obviously, they do have some prospects, maybe some picks. Maybe Trotz can make some magic and do what he does. Forsberg should be back next year. UC Saros is going to be elite like he usually is. They still have Roman Josi. The D-core is actually pretty damn solid. I just think the depth up front might be an issue. But with the acquisitions today, you got to like what they're doing in Nashville. Up next, this is the last winner, in my opinion. The last big winner. There's a lot of teams that had some good days today, but not a lot of players. This one, it's going to be the Detroit Red Wings. I actually did like what they did today. And that would be Gostisbehere. Obviously, he's not the greatest in the world, but he is still a very good defenseman. JT Compher, very, very good forward. Daniel Sprong, very good depth player. Hall, I get it. They did sign him for quite a lot, and he's not the greatest defenseman. Let's be real here. 3.4. It's a solid number. Toronto Maple Leafs fans are probably super, super happy that he's out of there in Toronto, but he's a viable defenseman that does have a lot of turnovers. I get it, but it's whatever. Maybe he can recreate that in Detroit, who knows? They have Reimer as well. It's whatever. Then Costin from Edmonton. I do not mind that one at all either. So, and they Alex Lyon too for some depth goaltending, but goaltending issue might be an issue. Husso, I don't know how good he's going to be this year. 4.7 for 2 more years. It's whatever. But this team might make playoffs, man. But it's going to be tough in the Atlantic Division. I like how they did it, man. I like what they did. Their depth got way better up front. No superstars added. Maybe Compher. Not superstar, but like Compher was probably the best player they did add that could produce more during the season. But I don't mind their forward core, man. I don't really mind their forward core, and the D core did get better as well. Still not the greatest team I've ever seen in the world, but they could be contending for the playoff spot. They could be contending for a wild card in the Atlantic Division. But let's get to these random other teams that I did think they did good, but weren't the top teams. I'll name a couple of them pretty fast. I like Stars. They got Duchesne, very good player that will help them because they need depth scoring, man. Stars need depth scoring, and that is exactly what they got. Leafs, Ryan Reeves, Klingberg. Reeves adds a physical touch to their team, which they really, really need because they need an identity. And Ryan Reeves is very, very tough and should help up and down the lineup. Klingberg as well is a very good offensive defenseman. Hopefully his defense doesn't be too bad because sometimes he's not the greatest in the defensive end actually, but he can put the puck in the net. So I do not mind that at all in the Leafs nation because that's what they do, man. They need to score goals. Edmonton Oilers, they got Brown, good player in the top 6, so hopefully he could help Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl win some games and score some goals. Obviously he did tore his ACL or something like that, so he is coming off that injury, so hopefully he can come back to that perfectly healthy and nothing else happens to him. Vancouver Canucks, Carson Soucy, very, very good defenseman, and Ian Cole, so backup on the back end is very, very good for the Canucks. That is one huge issue for the Canucks is the defense, and they did get better in that scenario. New York Rangers, I think the Wheeler addition was really, really good for them. He's a big boy in the bottom 6 that they need. They need some physical ability up there. I don't mind that, and he's a very good playmaker, and he still has that ability even at this age. And Yotes, honestly, Coyotes, they added my brother Jason, very, very good player, and Kerfoot, can't be mad about that. Galchenyuk, Nick Bukestad, not terrible. Obviously this team's still gonna be very, very bad, but they still added some good acquisitions, so maybe they can not get dead last in the NHL. That's a lot of these teams I did like. There are some other ones, obviously. Comment down below what signings you did not like if it was for your team, for a different team. I know like Islanders signed Engvall for like 7 years. Some contracts were a little crazy, but hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It was a crazy day 1. I'm very excited to hear who you think won and who you think lost in today's free agency. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please drop a like, subscribe, guys. It really does help out a lot. It really, really does. But once again, guys, be great, and I'll see you guys later.